Hi, my name's Quinton. I run an online charity called Knife Crime Victim Support and MAP Workshops, which is music, mentoring and poetry. I mean, for example, I've dealt with a couple of youngsters where I asked them, who's your role model? That's one of the first things that I often ask, who's your role model? And lots of them say no. In fact, it's probably 95% of the people, because we do questionnaires when we start our workshops, and I think only one or two. I think one said the artist actually that won the Brit Award recently. One of them said Dave, which was encouraging, but the rest actually said no, nobody at all. But then when you dig a little bit deeper and then you ask, okay, so maybe nobody in the family home necessarily. What about outside the family home? And when you dig a bit deeper, maybe the uncle's got a kind of a plumbing company or a scaffolding company. And so once I've identified that, what we do is we make up mock business pages on Facebook. So we might start a mock plumbing company or a mock scaffolding company, just to kind of show the reality, because we often speak about what we see. In fact, we see what we speak about. We see what we speak about. The very fact that I'm sitting here is because of what I speak about, and so your trajectory then changes. It becomes your reality, and it changes your social identity. So to even the very fact that you've kind of designed a logo, called it a company name, and said this can be you. This can be you. And in fact, two of the youngsters that I've worked with recently have enrolled in college as a plumber off of the back of that. So this is somebody that has been on the streets, has got a history of carrying knives, a history of serious youth violence, and we've spent a little bit of time with them and seen a change. And it's all about a positive approach to change, and to involve the youngsters in that change rather than push into change. What we do is we pull to change, and enable youngsters and empower youngsters, and make them a part of the dialogue. There's lots of adults sitting in seminars and sitting in conferences, talking without necessarily involving CYP. So it's all about boots on the ground work, which is why we get involved in outreach work as well as part of Knife Crime Victim Support. We've also worked recently in Warwickshire and across Cleveland and Hertfordshire, and soon to be in Essex as well. So it's the positive approach to change that counts. And when we are trying to find our identity, when we are in our most formative years and in our most impressionable years, it's just a very fragile time, and this is why I'm glad that there has been this shift of kind of awareness, and a shift of, okay, not necessarily just agencies working and authorities working with or even against youngsters, CYP or youngsters, but in fact, to find somebody who has experienced what they are experiencing now. And I think that's how I can relate with lots of the youngsters, because I come from a background, a disaffected background myself. I come from a complex childhood, and a very difficult and challenging one. And so the youngsters say real recognise real. So straight away they know that I can talk their language. They know that I'm on their side. They know that I've got their best interests at heart. And so I want to be an example of change. And from where I've come from, to where I am now, I'm hoping that they can look and say, well, in fact, this this is a reality. This can actually happen. Somebody can do it, because lots of youngsters come from intergenerational crimes, families. Lots of youngsters come from families that are the intergenerational crime filters down, and so if your dad's in prison, possibly, and then your mum's turned to alcohol or drugs, where does that leave you? Where does that leave you within a household, a single parent household, and with no one to act as a role model? So lots of the positive thing that I'm seeing at the moment, because knife crime and serious youth violence has become such an issue, is there are people out there that are prepared to step up to the plate and act as a positive role model.